does this happen? No royal flushes. Just bring me through the chemistry here. You think people shouldn't get frustrated about your mumbo-jumbo nonsense? This is characteristic of Origin of Life, folks. It's not just Lee Cronin. He's one of many. You try to pin him down, and he doesn't say it. Well, let's see. Let's give him another chance.
I make salad dressing a lot in my lab, and in fact salad dressing is probably the most important thing for the origin of life. That is oil in water.
Okay.
What happens when you shake oil in water? You get bubbles form spontaneously. Some molecules can dissolve in those bubbles in different ways, and each bubble has a different set of molecules in them, and you can fingerprint that using a device, similar to what you'd maybe test your blood to look at.
Okay.
So if every droplet is different, suddenly you have individuals. If individuals are now interacting in those droplets all bashing around in that salad dressing, they can compete with each other, they can cooperate together, and they can start to record stuff.
But we're still talking at this point about inorganic chemistry, right?
Correct.
So, and I suppose that the thing I'm trying to get my head around is it feels like there's a big difference between a kind of a chemical which has no sort of teleology, that it just is what it is, and a system which kind of has this trajectory, if you like, to start replicating. And
so that's a really important point you're making. So for me, teleology is a word I only learned a few months ago, but actually I now know what it means, so I can talk to you. So I would say, like, if I design a fork to pick up something, I know it's a fork. But if I observe a fork arising and I look at the pathway assembly of the fork, I'd say, well, actually it's below my threshold, it could have emerged, but an agency built that fork when I can discern a number of features. So what I mean is chemistry is at the border between a teleological, if that's a word, and teleological system, and when the chemistry is able to create it basically is able to affect itself in the future, that then becomes teleological. Right.
It crosses over from inorganic to organic.
Exactly. And that's really the exciting discovery we're trying to make. Perry wants to pay for. No, I mean that in a sense, not just my lab, but anyone's lab competing. He wants to see, and I'm putting this precisely so he can challenge, and Dennis can challenge, that a self-generating system that's teleologically generating objects. And what you're saying is like, oh boy, DNA, we're convinced it evolves, but how did that happen?
Sure.
And I would say evolution occurs firstly in bubbles, right, over the bubble. So you imagine like a massive system, disorganized chemistry persisting. As that persists over time, it has to compress those features and stop errors creeping in. And what happens over time is polymers get formed. So what is a polymer? Polymer is when two ping pong balls, if you like, are able to come together and rather than bounce off one another, they connect. And then it's two ping pong balls connected together. So you have double the information before and so on. And you get the kind of daisy chaining.
It's bubbles. It's all about bubbles, really, bubbles. You get polymers. How do you do the chemistry to get the polymers? This is so exacting. We're going to go through this. We're going to show the polymers that you've made are garbage. Garbage.